Okay, so the easiest way to make your file is in Canva. And so if you create a design, then you can go to just do custom size. And here it has some ones that are already populated, but if you go into 8.5 by 11, resume, portrait, letter, whatever, it's fine. Just pick, oh, these are suggested. Just create a new design. Okay, so here you go. You have a new design. It's the slice of a paper. So then what you can do is describe your ideal design. No, we're going to go to elements, and so this just depends on what you want to make a screen print of. So if you go to graphics, you can just search, animal, so let's do raccoon and see what it says. Okay, so these little things are premium images, so sometimes you have to go through a little bit and pick ones that don't have the free, or that are free, and these are kind of helpful magic recommendations, but go down and here's a good one. Let's see, like a little lemur. That guy's kind of cute. Let's just get one more. What are the magic recommendations? Okay, so these are kind of nice line work. So let's grab a couple of these because these are going to show up pretty good on your screen print. The pig. Okay. So you got some of these guys. You can arrange them. Maybe you want to do some text. So you can add a text box, and I heart raccoons. So you can, if you go here, you can change the font. And what you want is something that is going to be a bit thicker. So if you go to display, these will have some thicker fonts. So you can try something like that, make it bigger. Sometimes what I like to do is copy that and then paste it, and then try a different font. This one's pretty thick. Lemonade display. Some of them are not that readable, but you could be here for hours. So maybe I heart raccoons. Okay, there we go. So then when you want to arrange these guys, you're going to think that you want like a column. So maybe these guys can go in a column so that when you run the ink down, you can just boom, 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 hit them. And then maybe these guys have to go over here. And everything's all lined up. So this one, you can either screen print it from the right side or down. And then this will give you a little room to cut. So everything is like pretty cool about this, except we have a problem. We have this guy, and he has all these different colors. So we can't have more than one color. It's got to be just black. So we can try to like see in Canva if we can fix him. So if we go that and we go to white, and then this one we pick black. Oh no, maybe that has to be white. Okay, that's white. Maybe this is black. Now you can't see his eyes. So let's go white. And then this is black. So that's what he would look like if he was just black and white. That's kind of weird. Okay, so maybe that one isn't our favorite. Bring him. This guy will probably be a little bit easier because we can just do black, white, white, and he looks a bit better. Okay, so we can think about him, and then this one's just black, this one's black, white, 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 white. And maybe for some difference we can, maybe we'll get rid of the pig. Goodbye. And go back to elements, and I want to find something that you can't just fix in Canva. So if we go back to elements, you can go to like photos. Yeah, try that. Can't spell raccoon apparently. Oh, cute raccoon. Okay. No, we don't have those. There we go. Okay. So once again, I've got this guy. He's pretty cute. Or this one is free. So maybe we'll do this one because he doesn't have the background image. So we can move these up. You can go to this guy. It says it has colors, but this is going to look like super weird if we do black and white. So the thing with this is it's still grayscale. So we're going to have to fix that. But before we do that, let's crop it and just get in the part that we actually want to see. Okay. And then if you were fancy, you could get rid of the background, but I think this background is going to be fine for now. Okay, so say we didn't have this guy. I can get rid of him. This would be totally fine via Canva as your file. So if you wanted to go to share, you could go to download, and then it suggests PNG. I think PDF is better. SVG would be great, but PDF standard, PDF print, I guess we can do either one. Okay, and then download, I heart raccoons, and there it is. So you can just bring this into the workshop. Alright, but let's say we really like that other guy. Oops, there he is. Okay, so if we want to do him, then what we can do is we can still go ahead and share this, download it. I would still do PDF. Alright, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go to Gimp. So Gimp is a good program. It's free. It's just a little bit clunky is all. Where did it go? Okay, so actually Gimp wasn't installed, but now it is. So if I go to open I Heart Raccoons 1, I just look at the time. Oh, you can see the picture on there, so we're going to open that. And you can just import. There's lots of stuff on here, and you don't need most of it for our purposes. But if we zoom in, that's cute. That's a cute guy. Okay, so what we could do is trace him and just separate him from the background. So if you go to scissors, select, it's intelligent, so let's see. So you just click, and then it kind of follows the outline of this guy. And you can kind of fix it if it's not that smart. This is a really easy, lazy way of cutting out background. Yeah, we don't know what to do with all that fur, but that's okay, neither does he. Okay, coming up, coming up, coming up. So, get to here, little ear fluff, in the ear, okay. And then, see that, how it changed from plus to infinity? So that's gonna close the gap, and then you can hit enter, and then now he is highlighted. So you can do stuff with layers, there's all kinds of things, but what I want to do right now is, like, if you look in this corner, this is the colors. So you want the background color to be white, so I'll just drag it up there, and now the background is white. So then when I add another layer, oops, it's at the foreground color. Let's try again. Fill with background color. Okay. Okay, so then I can go here, copy him, Control C, and then go to my layer and Control V. Okay, so now he is just by himself. And so what it did is the floating selection. So until you hit this little anchor, it's not going to actually paste it on there. So you want to paste it on there, and then and now you have two different guys. But we can just kind of work on him. So all right. So what we need to do is change him to black and white. And if you really wanted to go in, you could go in and, like, maybe that fluff is a little funny, or maybe I want to kind of cut out this a little bit more. You can get in there with the eraser and, oops, that's erasing the background. That's okay. We just don't need to see the background layer. So you can kind of get in there with the eraser a little bit, and then fill this guy back in. Switch these around. And now he's a little more, I don't know, a little more crisp. So yeah, you can sit here and play with this like all day long. But if we want to zoom back out, so there's our handsome fellow. Okay, so then what we're going to do, okay, so we're going to put a couple filters on him. And then he might still be saying, like, hey, isn't he black and white? Like, he is black and white, but not in screen printing, not in the screen printing world. So what you can do is go to threshold, boom, and that is if he is just black and white. So it makes it very contrasty, but this will screen print, and you can kind of sort of, oops, drag the values around. know how we get back to the, or we just have black and white. There we go. Okay. So now dragging the black, so the closer the black gets to the white, it's just like a blob, right? And then over here it's just kind of nothing. So somewhere in here, and this is where you're going to have to pick, is where this guy is going to look raccoony enough. Okay, so we could do that here. We can save this for comparison, and then what we can do is come back to bucket fill. There it is again. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so this is your undo menu. So we can come back to this, and then we can save this guy. Let's do image. Alright, so this is a rectangle. So we can just put him in a rectangle, and then image, crop to selection. And so that cropped everything, so including, you know, where he was on the picture, but that's okay, because we have Canva to go back to if we need it, and we can like import that separately. So I would probably save one for your pictures and then save another one for your just black and white stuff. But okay, so let's save him as, save a copy, export as. Yeah, we can do PDF, that's fine. Alright, we're going to call him the Charming Fellow, and then I will stick him, we'll just do it in the folder, in the downloads folder. So just do all these basic things, just export. Okay, so now we have our Charming Fellow, and we can close out a Gimp and discard the changes, just so we have less things to worry about. Okay, now if we go to Inkscape, this is like one of my favorite programs, and it's totally free, which is awesome. So if we go into, let's do a new window. Alright, new document. I made it full screen. This is your menus over here. Yours is probably going to look a little bit different than mine, but this is colors. Then this one is layers. This one is arranging. This one is trace bitmap. We're going to use that a bit. Text, export, undo history. So these are just like your little, so yours might be set up a little differently. But so we're just going to open, and I can go into my recent, and there he is, the Charming Fellow. I'm just thinking about how charming he is. No? This is where my program crashes. Oh, that's too bad. Alright, let's try again. I probably pissed it off having too much windows open. Alright, so import Charming Fellow. I don't know why it's having such an issue. Alright, stand by. Okay, I don't know what the issue was, but I turned him into PNG, so let's try that. Alright, great. So, embed. Just do all of these basic things. There he is. Doo-doo-doo. You can go down here and zoom in. Okay, so what we can do is we can play around with the the little square circle, which is trace bitmap. So that kind of shows what he looks like with brightness cutoff, which is basically like it is threshold, like how we had in Gimp. But you have a couple more things that you can do in here. So if you click around, there's like edge detection. Usually that doesn't do very well. You can do center line tracing. So I'll show you what this looks like. It's not going to look like that. It's gonna, if we apply, whoa, that's crazy. Alright, so let's go back here. Let's go to auto trace, apply. So we don't want that either. Alright, let's go back to brightness cutoff. So let's get him, there he is. Alright, so then we can also play with threshold and decide if we want him to be a bit darker. So those both look pretty similar. Okay. Another thing we can do is, if you want something, alright, we have these guys here. So I have lots to say about all of this stuff. So these were photos that I traced, and then I loaded the image into Inkscape, and these ones are pretty good, but the line could be thicker. And then you have some of these guys that I grabbed from PDFs, and so I kind of want to show you how to do something more like this. So this looks like it's grayscale, but it's not, because if you zoom in, it's all black. It's just like little dots. But it gives it a little more depth, which is kind of nice, as opposed to this one, which is just black. You can see the difference between this guy and this guy. It's not going to be perfect, but they're different, so you can see which one you like better, or maybe you just want to stick with, you know, text or an image that you drew or anything like that. There's lots of options, but at any rate, so what we can do is, if we want to give this charming fellow a little more definition, we can go into multicolor and brightness steps. So we don't need that many scans. Maybe we just need 3 scans. So let's try remove background. We'll stack them, and let's try that. Okay, so that gives him a little more depth of character, but it's grayscale, and actually what it is this layer of black, this layer, and this layer. So we can see how he can look like, maybe something like that. That one isn't as much, but let's see if we overlap these two. You can play around. The other thing that you could do is go in here, go back to single scan, brightness cutoff, and really kind of bump up the threshold so that he's darker. No, we don't need to do that. Never mind. Okay, so back to these guys. So what we do is now we can take this guy and we go into colors, fill and stroke. So it's filled with this color that is not black. It's like a medium gray. So this is what it would look like if it was black. This guy, if it was black, and this guy, black. So this is pretty similar to what we got from the single scan, but let's see if we can, his eyeballs are in this one, a little bit more of the tail, so let's see if we can take this guy and instead of filling it in with color, we're going to fill it in with a pattern. So there you go, now these polka dots. Let's see, halftones is selected, so you can really play around with what you want these guys to look like, but the smaller you make it in scale, the more it becomes like a grade image. And this 0.01 might be a little bit too small to come out with a good, like, it looks like really crisp on the screen, but it might not be great for the screen print. So maybe instead we could go, alright, so that's, let's just change it to 0.05. Yeah, and that looks a bit better. Now if we overlap this guy, and you just kind of have to sort of gauge where you think it goes if you don't want to be here all day. So we have like that choices, and then remember, this isn't gray, it's black. It's just lots and lots and lots of black dots. Or we can try this guy, fill in with a pattern, and then let's see, you can go to all patterns. You want to stay away from stuff that is a bitmap, like grid. Usually it'll tell you, oh, like this one, bitmap, old paint. So, you know, cool, but not going to help us. So the easier ones are like the lines, the dots, the halftones. You can do stripes, and then these ones look a bit better if you make them smaller. And then usually if you put them at an angle, so we go smaller still. So that's a little dark. Maybe one bigger. You're finding like a medium balance, but alright, let's try that. Let's take this and put it on top of there and see, do we like that better? I don't know. Control, copy and paste, because I want to see both of them. So it's really up to you. It's different. I also would wonder what it would look like if we just put this one on top of this one. And you can't see his eyeballs, but he has like lots of fur. Like the definition of his fur is a little bit easier to tell what's going on than maybe this one. So options for you, but regardless, you need to turn it into black and white. Okay, so then just one more thing. So what you can do is, so I made a new document, but what we want to do is document properties, and then it just defaults to A4. So if you pick US, US letter, and then it puts it into inches, orientation, display units, you want this to be in inches. Okay, and then we can come back to here. So if we zoom out, this is all of our handsome fellows. So we could, we'll put him over here. And then what you can do is you can drag. So if you look down here, it says no object selected. Click shift plus click, alt plus scroll. So it gives you little, it sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, but it gives you little keystrokes that you can do. So one of them that's kind of fun is you can hold down alt and then just kind of doodle on that, and then that picks both of these layers. And then I might want to still copy, let's see, which one did I like? Maybe we'll copy that. So then I'll put him back. It looks cool. Alright, and then I'm going to alt, zig, zig, zig. And then it got him. So then you can go to group. And now you can just drag him around like normal. And then we'll make one more and put him in there. This sort of lighter guy. Alright. And there's also lots of short keys, but you can go to object and group, and then there they are. So, oops, and then it'll start doing that a little bit. It just selects them all. So just kind of double click, and then you'll get the one that you want. And then they behave for a little while and they stop behaving, but we'll just move. Let's see, there you go. Move that over. Okay, so here are our three fellows. And so you got to think about when you set this up on the screen, you want a bit of space on the top, and you want some space to like squish out. So when you run the ink into it, it's gonna squeeze in. So you could either print like all of these at the same time, but if you wanted to print them separately, then you would have to give them some space. So honestly, the only thing I don't like about Inkscape is that it starts doing that. Okay, so you could do that, and then if we go back to, let's try to open a PDF again. Open and downloads. I heart raccoons. I didn't save this, so if it crashes, I'll be a little sad. It does not like PDFs. I don't know why. This didn't used to be a problem. Alright, always save your work. Yeah. Alright, goodbye. Yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Okay, Well, okay, sorry about that. I had to do a new Inkscape, so now mine looks a little different. It asked if I wanted the dark. I said sure, whatever. Alright, but now we can open PDFs. So if I go to downloads, this is a little different. There we go, I heard raccoons. Forgot what it was called. Okay. So if we go here, now it actually imports, and bada bing, we have these guys. And you can see it kind of does a good job of, for the most part, turning it into vectors or something that's similar to vectors. Alright, so what I wanted to get was this, the I Heart Raccoons. And what we can do is go ahead and do object to path. Let's see, did it do anything? No, didn't. Okay. So let's try trace bitmap. Okay. You can tell that I went to vector because it has all these little vectors. Because we don't want it to try to find a font. We just want to use the fonts that we already had. Like if I go to text and font, I shouldn't be able to edit this. No. But let's trace the bitmap anyways. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and this. Unselect. There, this and this. I don't know where it was. Oh. There we go. Okay. So sometimes when it goes PDFs, you have to clip, release clip. That's what's happening. It's clipped. Oops. Alright, try again. There we go. Alright. Copy. And paste over here. So that could be our sheet. Okay. One more thing. Okay, I went back to Canva and I saved it as a PNG this time as it suggested, and it just put everything into the same picture. So to break these out, we're going to have to go to trace bitmap, and here you see it, and we'll just do, we can do any of these, and should hit apply. Okay, now we have the original is that one, and this one is, no, this one is the original. Just kidding. This one is vector. Okay, and you can tell if you click on node tool, when you highlight them, they are all vectors. Okay, so to get little dude out of there, we want to highlight him. So probably the easiest way is just to go and erase. Actually, let's try to ungroup. Just kidding, we can do split path. So go to path, and down here, split path. Maybe we didn't do it. Let's try again. There we go. Alright, so it split it into different ones. So now we could group this together. Oops. Group this together just so they're easier. Alright, so two less things actually. So let's get these charming fellows out of here. I just want to deal with the duck, and I picked the duck because he's kind of thin on the lines. So if you get a drawing that you like but is kind of thin on the lines, what you can do is, let's group him. Click on that and then go to fill and stroke, and then you can click on fill. So that is just going to basically look how the same. Then if you want to zoom in, what we can do is, if we want to get this thicker, we can go to stroke paint and click on that, and now it's thicker. And then if we go to stroke style, we can kind of thicken it up even a little more. So you can decide. But normally the more black there is, the easier it is to make the etching, the screen print. Okay, so that was one thing, and then the last thing that I just thought of is we want to take our entire document and flip it. So you can go to object and then hit flip horizontal. Boop. Okay, so there you go. Because you want to see this backwards, because you know it's just the way we have to do it, and so it's easier just to take the whole thing. I'll show you on here, because you've already fit them together and kind of lay them out and stuff like that. It's easier just to take the whole thing and flip it around. Okay, hopefully that helps. Thank you guys.